Something that you may be hearing a lot lately is that the real estate market in Houston is hot. And while that is true, there are some massive problems on the horizon that concern me. Katie Day with the MOVEMETOTX Team at Coldwell Banker. If you've tuned into my channel or page before, you've seen me do a lot of videos on what's going on in the real estate market and what's happening here in Houston as a whole. So earlier today, while I was prepping a market update video and I was looking at the market and the numbers and the current stats of where things stand today, and then kind of thinking about like what we're seeing in the market with our listings and our buyers on a regular basis, there are some massive problems that are going to arise that will impact you as a buyer, as a homeowner, and to you if you are thinking about possibly selling. So we need to talk about these issues in Houston so that you can be aware of them and then successfully navigate them in the future if you're thinking about buying, if you're thinking about selling, or possibly even investing. So let's dig in. Number one, there's no inventory. Today for Houston as a whole, we're sitting at 21,027 active listings on the market, which is 2.5 months of inventory. Taking a look at November 2019, we had over 31,000 active listings on the market, which is a 32.9% decrease in listings on a year-over-year basis. If we look at it on months of inventory to see like how quickly properties were selling, and like kind of like what the market demand was as a whole. In 2019, we were sitting at 4.5 months of inventory in November of 2019. And again, right now, we're at 2.5 months of inventory. Another thing about inventory is that a lot of builders are super short on inventory, and many are limiting the amount of sales that they're allowing each month. So normally builders will sell as many homes, an unlimited amount of homes, but with low supply and high build costs, they're either not building or not building as much as usual. Lumber prices are also driving up the cost to build for builders across the country. Additionally, if you're a buyer looking to purchase a new build, there aren't many or really any incentives. So if you were looking to have the title policy paid, closing cost assistance, or a discount like off the list price, we're just not seeing the incentives that we saw months and years ago. All right, number two, multiple offers. We're seeing multiple offers all over the place. If you're an FHA buyer or a down payment assistance program, you need stuff like that, closing cost assistance. We're seeing multiple offers on almost all of the homes in the first-time home buyer category. We recently had a home listed here in Houston, and it had at $200,000, and it had over 60 showings in the weekend, plus multiple offers. I think we had 15 offers on the property. So in cases like these, as a buyer or a buyer's agent, you've got to work to put your absolute best foot forward and strongest offer forward. Smaller or no down payments, closing cost assistance, or a longer close date, they're very rare to find these days in the market. What goes along with multiple offers oftentimes is an appraisal contingency waiver. So in Texas, what this basically means is that if the appraisal comes in low, you're telling the seller ahead of time that you're going to make up the difference in cash. So say you're under contract on a house at $300,000 and they ask you to waive the appraisal contingency. If you do this and the appraisal comes in at $280 and you're under contract at $300, you've got to make up that $20,000 difference in cash. And if you do this, it can raise issues down the road if you go to sell. If it's only worth $280,000 now and you've sunk additional cash into the property, you may not have the equity gains and appreciation that you'd normally see to be able to sell at a profit at a later date. So it's something that definitely concerns me. Because of all of these things happening and then the inventory shortage that we're seeing, many sellers aren't selling because they're not sure where they're going to go. So as we talk about all of this, you may think, okay, I'm just going to rent. But with such a shortage of inventory in sales and in rentals, like most property management companies are reporting record highs for occupancy. So what that means is people aren't moving and then they have high occupancy. So what that means for rental prices is those are increasing too. As I said before, homes are selling quickly on market and have multiple offers. So if you look at a home that's been on the market for a while, what we call aged inventory, realistically, it's probably going to have issues in the home, or likely it's overpriced. And in this situation, you could have issues down the road that are costly, whether it's that you overpaid for the home or that you have to pay for repairs in your house that you may not be able to afford. So lots of things could arise there. One other note that I'd like to make is about property taxes. While homes values continue to increase, this means really that property taxes will continue to increase as well. While Texas is a non-disclosure state, so that means you don't have to tell the tax district what you paid for your home, we're going to still see tax values rise over the next year or a few years. Finally, I'd like to touch on forbearance. While we are seeing numbers of the people under forbearance decrease, I am concerned about, kind of like the 180 days of forbearance expiring. And if people don't come up with a plan, if they are behind on their payments, they may have issues with their home. A lot of housing industry analysts have shown concern that the mortgage forbearance program, which allows you to delay your payments, could lead to an increase in foreclosures when these forbearances end. Many homeowners that have taken advantage of the forbearance programs, a lot of them are staying current on their mortgage and they're paying off their loan through a home sale or refinancing it. But if this is a situation that you're in, I would recommend that you research your options as much as possible. And then now what I'd like to do is provide some tips to you if you're looking to make a move anytime soon. First, if you're looking to buy, get your financing in line, get your pre-approval before you start looking at homes. And finally, use a local lender. I've said many times that, homes are selling in multiple offers, but listing agents are going to have concern with out-of-state lenders. And additionally, if you're thinking about using a big bank, many listing agents are not going to want to work with big banks, because they have, they tend to take longer, they have poor communication. Out-of-state lenders and big banks often don't have the local connections to get your loan closed. So again, get pre-approved before you start looking. If you aren't pre-approved and you find your dream home, you likely aren't going to have the time to get your pre-approval and then submit a strong offer in time in these multiple offer situations. Number 2, if you are selling your current home and you're purchasing a new one, make sure that your home is under contract or sold before you start looking in a new market or a new area. Since things are strong for sellers today, you should or could be able to negotiate some additional time in your home if that's something that you need. If you need to take the equity out of your current house for your down payment on your new home, consider doing a lease back, which will allow you to sell, take the money out of your home, and then, purchase that new home. Number 3, so if you are a first-time home buyer, it is imperative that you work with an experienced agent. Do your research, make sure that your agent has experience with multiple offers, that they are a full-time agent, and that they have industry connections. Over the past few months, we've been fortunate to win in multiple offer situations because we understand the market, we frame the offer to ensure that it's in the seller's best interest, and we're going to leverage our industry connections and networking and try to collaborate with the listing agent to get, to closing. If you're still watching this, I appreciate you tuning in. I know that this is all probably pretty overwhelming, so I do want to make one additional point. And I think one thing that is promising about the market is that as you increase, at least in Houston, in price point, we are seeing a little bit more inventory and fewer buyers. So what this means to you, if you're thinking about selling and you want to sell your $350,000 home and purchase a $450,000 home, there are fewer buyers and a little bit more inventory out there. So also one good thing is with interest rates at such a low point right now, you may have more purchasing power than you think, or you could increase your price point and possibly have a very similar payment to what you may be paying now. But if you have any questions on what is going on in the real estate market, or if you're considering moving to Texas, shoot me an email or give me a call today and I'll talk to you soon.